Yes, guys, what's going on? Make sure you head over to stretfordpaddock.bigcartel.com. Check out all the new merch. Remember, members get 10% off. Go and do it now. See you later.
Jay here for Stretford Paddock. Manchester United 3, Newcastle United 1. This is the live review. Joining me as always is my good friend and colleague, Joe Smith. Job done. Happy days. How are we feeling about that one, Joe?
Yeah, good. We had to win it, and we had to start winning eventually, didn't we? Like, come on. We knew at some point we were going to beat a side. You can't just never win again. The first half, we were terrible. At the time, I was trying to keep a brave face on a little bit because it was happening. But now I can look back and go, we were shit first half. They had more shots than us. How can you concede shits? 6 shots,
Concede shits.
4 on target against a team that had 23% possession? All they did was shoot. That must have been all they did because they didn't touch the ball otherwise. First half was terrible. Second half, I don't really know what happened. I don't really know what changed.
I can tell you. Do you want me to tell you what happened? I'll tell you what, and he's on our thumbnail. Dan James happened.
Dan James happened.
In the second half.
China happened.
Yeah, he burst into life with what was a very good performance, I felt, from Dan James. Sometimes we get a little bit giddy when he does an okay performance. People go, oh, he was amazing. I don't quite buy into that. But I thought he played well today. Got his goal. Caused them all sorts of problems. And I hate using this, but it's true. He did put a shift in. He did kick track back a lot. And he did well. And he's a player that I feel like we should highlight him because he gets a lot of criticism.
Yeah.
He's been questioned constantly, almost since after that first few weeks at Manchester United when he obviously hit the ground running. So I feel it's only right when a player does well, you should give him a bit of praise. And he deserved praise today. I thought he did well.
Yeah, I thought he did really well as well. He's tracking back. See, there's certain things about him that some things he's not that good at, some things he's terrible at, some things he's actually very good at. And his tracking back, he's actually very good.
Yeah.
And his energy, and not just like, running, should be able to do that for that money. But it's not about that because there are plenty of players who earn a lot more money than Dan James who don't sprint back with their man like he does. And, maybe they've got more in other areas. Presumably they have. But he runs back. Just even as a perfect example, the foul he did on St. Maximin after about 70 minutes, where St. Maximin's just got the ball, just sprinting towards the halfway line. Dan James just sort of runs across the back of him from behind, takes him out. No booking, but he stopped a counter-attack there.
Yeah.
And stuff like that where you think, do you know what? That's good football, that is. That's shit and horrible, and you don't think he's like that because he's small and he don't get booked because he's little and it's only Dan James. He can't have meant it.
Because he flew into him with his back first. It was like a rugby tackle.
A clear foul, clearly stopping the counter-attack. But you need people to do that, and certain teams for years have gotten away with doing that sort of thing and been praised for doing it. And a little bit of that's good. And he took his chance today. It was one of the more composed finishes I've seen from him, actually. That he sort of looked at what was going on and just passed it in the corner, which is a nice finish and a bit better than the occasional hit and hope from him that we see sometimes. But it was good again today. He was very good against Sociedad. He was pretty good again today. But no one, it seems as though when you look on Twitter and you look online and you speak to people that
why would you do that?
He's never played football before and that he's the worst player in the world. And I mean, if you've only seen him play for 30 seconds, you'd know that he's the worst footballer Manchester United have ever had. When that's not really the case. And he spoke after the game talking about how he wanted to get back to where he was last season. He wanted to get back to what he thought was him, and he thinks he's done that. And I think he's done that. And a player of his qualities, of his with his characteristics and traits, has a place in a squad fighting on multiple fronts. I think if we were, let's say we didn't have the Europa League, if we were knocked out of the FA Cup,
yes, guys, what's going on? Make sure you head over.
I don't think Dan James would necessarily be playing ever for United.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to win 4 trophies at once, and we're down to 3 now with, obviously, we're not in the League Cup anymore. But someone like Dan James is valuable in this sort of squad. And you mentioned it before about, sometimes because he's been called shit so many times, because the standards have been lowered so much by people for him, that when he plays remotely good, everyone's going, Dan James, man of the match, world-class performance. It's like, you're actually taking the piss out of him a bit here.
Yeah.
Like, he was good today, one of our better players, better than people think he is. But I think the same thing was happening with Luke Shaw for a while, where any remote performance that isn't dreadful, everyone's going, you know what? He's turned a corner and he's proven us all wrong. He was world class today. Well, he wasn't. He was good, and he's what we need him to be if he wants to play for United. And treating him like a kid who's shocking that you have to say he's the best player in the world every time he puts in a 5 out of 10 performance isn't really going to help. But he was good today. He deserves some credit, and well done for getting the goal as well. And I feel happy for him that he's back in the squad a little bit and getting the numbers as well when he's in there.
Do get involved in the comments and do like the video. Give us a like. I want to talk about this briefly before we move on because, I mean, I know you were doing a watch along. I don't know if you had a lot of comments about it, but one performance that was highlighted that was criticised quite a lot or questioned, and I think it's been the sort of an ongoing theme this season is Anthony Martial. People saying that it wasn't a great game for him, and I think I have to agree with that it was. I love Martial, but it wasn't a good game for him today. Didn't really happen for him. Obviously taken off. His record in the Premier League this season hasn't been great. What did you make of it? And like I say, I don't want to dwell on it too much because we've got 3 points. I don't want to start getting all negative, but it's something we should talk about because it is a talking point. What did you make of Anthony Martial's performance today?
Really poor.
Yeah.
Again. And he seemed like he was on the ball less today as well. And there was a point for Dan James's goal, and Steve was talking about it on the replay, where Matic, I think it's Matic who
Matic
turns into the box.
It's either his setup. I'm not sure Bruno got a touch.
The ball goes across and Bruno gets a touch through the legs. I think
Did he get a touch?
Assist,
right, okay.
And then James gets it. And the whole time, so Matic is on the edge of the box. Martial's the number 9 in the middle of the box.
Yeah.
He's got a man right on him. He makes no run to get away from him. He doesn't try and come short. He doesn't try and spin him. He doesn't take half a step forward and turn. And then Matic comes inside, plays the ball across. Then Dan James got it. He doesn't make a turn, doesn't make a run. Like it's just like over and over again. He doesn't really do anything, and he's on his man like this, just walking around the box. And you're like, that you're not going to get goals by doing that. And I'm not a striker. Anthony Martial knows a lot more about being a number 9 for a top class team than I ever will, obviously. But when you see things like that, and from someone looking from my perspective, watching that game, you want to see him almost work his way out of this form rather than. It seems a bit like he's hoping that the goals will come to him, and maybe that's always been his style, and largely that's worked for him. But at the minute it isn't working, and instead of doing the same thing that isn't working, you would hope to see him try something new. And so far it doesn't seem like he's doing that. And I don't want to criticise him too much because he is playing, I would say, inarguably the worst football of his time at Manchester United after being so good last season. So that's what I don't get. I said it during the watch along. I would like to see some sort of analysis, some sort of either statistics or some kind of breakdown, a report almost by an expert or by someone who's again much more clued up on the specific tactics of the game as to what's happened to Martial this season because it's inexplicable. I almost feel bad criticising him at this point because he's so clearly going through a terrible run of form. But yeah, he just wasn't there again today, was he?
No, I agree, and I'm like a broken record. I love Anthony Martial, and I think his last season, as you said, was fantastic. And there's still obviously a very talented player in there, but it's this season's almost. I know there's a lot left of it. It's almost been a write-off for him. It's just I don't know what's going on, and I felt with Edinson Cavani being out, this was maybe a chance to step up against the Newcastle defence that are full of holes. But even when Mason came on, I thought Mason looked more lively and looked more up for it in that number 9 role than Martial did, and he looked like he was busting a gut to get into the box. And it's not just about effort and things like that. But you can't help but notice that. It was noticeable that, when Greenwood played a 1-2, he was absolutely firing forward to get on the end of things. And you feel with Martial, he's just sort of disappearing into himself. And I hope he can turn it around, but, he needs to do it sooner rather than later because this season it's becoming very hard to rely on him when Edinson Cavani's not available. And I think when Edinson Cavani is available, then he'll start. On some other things, Marcus Rashford, of course, got a goal, won as a penalty. His first goal as well was great because he created it himself from that left-hand side where me and you have spoken about it multiple times. What I see him on there, I think loads of people have. Cutting
that
inside.
was an assist from Harry Maguire. How dare you say he created that himself? That was a wonderful assist.
So before he put it on a plate for him.
He put it on a plate.
Do you know what I mean?
It's simply an open net with only 40 yards and 8 defenders to get past.
It's one of them where you go, you couldn't have missed with that pass, Marcus.
On.
Do you reckon he said that to him when he celebrated?
Yeah,
do you reckon he said you couldn't have missed there, son?
Yeah.
After that pass.
Stuck one right up for you there, Marcus.
Do you know what I mean?
Thank me later.
Yeah. But no, Marcus Rashford cutting inside. All right, the keeper should have done better, but it's still a great finish, still a great bit of skill. Had a good game, I felt today, Marcus Rashford.
Yeah. I thought he was better than he has been. I thought his actual performances was good. Some of the balls he was playing in behind, I think his passing abilities goes massively under the radar. He, of course, got the goal for the assist for Bruno midweek with a lovely little chip over the top. Some of the passes across the pitch and up through the lines today were really good. And yeah, I mean, it's no coincidence that he's got, 10 assists, 17 goals this season?
Something
or 10
around
assists,
there,
18 goals this season.
It might be.
It's no coincidence that he's got these numbers. And again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. His style of play is frustrating at times, but that is why he's so good, because he takes risks, he runs at defenders every time. And, let's not compare him to anyone at United in terms of what's better than others, but someone who gets the ball and every single time tries to do something with it, I will, and most of the time nothing comes of it, because that's what football's like.
Yeah.
I will take that any day of the week, rather than someone that gets the ball and tries to give it away as fast as possible, because I don't want the pressure of having to create things. Again, there's no surprise that he's got 18 goals and 10 assists this season, which is sensational numbers for a winger in the Premier League. His best numbers at this stage of any season in his career. Well on course to be his highest goal scoring season ever for Manchester United, despite some people thinking he's not worth the shirt that his name's printed on. I think he's a brilliant player, and I think his actual performance other than just the goals, the goal and the winning the penalty today was excellent, and I think he's a great player. And without him this season, it's easy to look at Bruno, who of course has been the star man, the talisman this season, but without Rashford, we'd be well down the table. So yeah, another good performance from him.
A confusing performance for me was sort of good, but at times frustrating.
Yeah,
was Fred. Because I can't work that game out. I can't work if he played well, he played badly. He gave the ball away a lot.
Yeah.
He went on some fantastic runs. He had a couple of shots that were just, I don't think they've landed yet.
No, I just do this when I think of Fred.
Yeah, it's just like, he stuck. I liked it when it kicked off and he ran into bodyguard Bruno. I was all about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like a typical Fred performance in many ways, in that we saw some good things, but also some slightly ridiculous things as well.
I'm coming round to Fred as a character. I've decided that Fred is a fictional character.
Right, okay.
He loves running. My God, does he love running? He'll get a toe in where he can. But if you want him to... The thing with Fred is the pass through to the other night to Rashford was brilliant.
Yeah, it was.
But you get maybe 6 of them a year.
Can't line out of that.
6 of them for the calendar year.
I'm not giving him credit for that today.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We did that review after the Sociedad
Yeah.
game. So now I'm talking about it tonight. And whilst, again, he did some good things, there was a point where he went on a run. And I was thinking, great run. James is there. And he shot. And I think he went out for a throw-in. And you're like, when's he going to learn? And I actually, this sounds really bad. I don't think, right, I've ever wanted a United player not to score from a shot, but I don't want Fred to score from a shot, because if he scores from a shot, we'll create a monster. That will be the end of that. He will shoot even more often than he does now.
Do you remember, I think it was about 8 years ago, this is a niche reference, when Tom Huddleston said that I ain't cutting my hair till I score a goal.
Did he have?
And he had one of the biggest afros I've ever seen, because he
hip-length
didn't
hair.
score for like 3 years. But he was shooting from 40 yards, 20 yards, 30 yards. He was every time he got the ball, he was shooting. Because in his head, he decided, I'm not cutting my hair till I score. I think Fred is like this. I don't know what it is, because he's obviously getting haircuts. But there's something that he is not doing until he scores. Right. So maybe he needs to get that goal. Rather than giving him confidence, maybe go, oh, thank God I can stop shooting.
Yeah.
I think he played well today, Fred, overall. But yeah, in front of goal, it's you almost have to laugh and enjoy it, because it's like, it's comical how bad he is at shooting, but he does a lot of other good things. And I thought today was much better. He's been going through a patch of giving the ball away a lot from deep. Whenever he gets pressed, he was giving the ball away the last few weeks. I thought his overall performance was much better today. And I think part of that is due to playing alongside Matic, who, despite being the biggest, seemingly most cumbersome player in the midfield, actually is better against the press than pretty much anyone else we've got, I would say, including Paul Pogba. I think there was a time today where the ball came across to him and someone was pressing him, was like right on him, like touching him, and he just let the ball go across his body, played it back to Maguire. You just think most players would shit themselves there, try and get the ball out forward because, oh, there's a man on me, what do I do? Matic can control the balls there and play them out in a way that most of our other defenders can't, and I think he takes a lot of the pressure off Fred for that. We've got a couple of super chats.
Go on, mate.
Abdullah Ibrahim. Leicester are hot on our heels. Even with this win, it worries me how easy it is for teams to get at us. A win today was massively needed. A positive is how Mason's movement created space and chances. Yeah, he came on and really tried to disrupt their defence quite a lot. Didn't you see the league table there?
We're above Leicester on goal difference, but obviously level on points.
Second.
Yeah, I can't believe they had a game today where against Villa, Jack Grealish didn't play in it. It's such a rarity.
Yeah.
And it was a close game as well, so that was a bit frustrating. But we just need to do our job.
Yeah. One more super.
Go on, please, Dave.
Abhishek Paddy says Martial and 40 million for Haaland. Routine win should kick on. Yeah, I mean, I take that, but I don't think Dortmund would take that.
I don't think that's happening.
No. Although he's got a £72 million buyout clause, so at some point you've got to take it.
Multitude of reasons, but I think most people are probably happy with that, especially before Martial's in. Apart from Martial FC, you might not be too happy, but I don't think Dortmund are going to do that deal, and I don't think Manchester United will attempt to do that deal. Defensively, there's still these question marks. I know Luke Shaw got man of the match, but Jermaine Jenas gave it him, so I don't count that because Jermaine Jenas, I don't think you had the commentary on, spouted more shite in 90 minutes than I've ever heard in my life. And I've done a watch along with,
me.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to say you. Well, anyway.
Say me, that's
all
right.
It's fine. Because we're friends, we can have this sort of banter.
Epic bands.
Epic bands. Yeah, it wasn't a particularly calming defensive performance. Quite sort of on edge at times, giving the ball away a lot in the first half. Kept leaving St. Maximin unmarked as well. Like they had 3 sort of carbon copy attacks, and he scored on the third one, which was just amazing. There's still this issue in the defensive line. I mean, Newcastle aren't great going forward, but like you said, they had 23 possession or something, and still managed to get a goal. Could have had more.
Yeah, defensively, it's weird at the moment. It's like it must be a confidence thing, and maybe more than that as well. But I think it's players that have limitations and clearly obvious limitations that are obvious to our opposition, who are then playing without confidence on top of those limitations. There was a point in the first half where they just kept chipping balls to the back post, over and over again. And
it worked eventually.
That we're gonna fuck up
because that was what I was getting at.
Yeah,
they did that over and over, and eventually, I think St. Maxim had a shot that was saved for the corner. That De Gea saved it. They get a corner out of it, and then they do it again.
Yeah,
and then they score. So we need to work on that, and we can't just keep going for this thing of, well, if Eric Bailly comes in, all our problems are solved.
Yeah, that's
he doesn't play.
You could have said that at any time for the last 4 years.
Yeah, and he doesn't play enough for us to be reliant on him. Yeah. So we've got to sort out these defensive frailties. Do you want to jump into some of the comments?
We've got a super chat from United Forever podcast. He says, Motti, please introduce Fred to Pepsi Max. There's a secret formula. Pepsi Max. That'll be the secret formula to curing them beautiful banana shots, epic bants.
Yes, that's the key. Hey, that's what works for me as an athlete.
Yeah.
Lots of Pepsi Max cherry, and that's why I'm, one of Manchester United's foremost players.
Yeah. Luke Shaw did all right going forward today. Again, there's a point for the corner that led to their goal where there was 2 men on the left-hand side. I think it was Fred and Shaw. It was certainly Shaw and someone else.
Yeah.
With one man in front of him on the ball. And then a runner went straight behind them both, and Luke Shaw went like this. Just goes first, and then he went, oh, go on then. Like a second and a half, 2 seconds later, you're like, track the run.
Yeah.
And then he runs down, puts the ball across, goes out for a corner. Next thing you know, old Jed's a millionaire. Newcastle have scored. It's 1-1. It's like, fair enough, he's improved, and he has improved. But stuff like that where he's just caught ball watching. You've got 2 men marking the man on the ball, and you've got a runner. Let's do this. One, stay with the man on the ball. One, track the run. But we could do with a bit more of that from Luke Shaw, I think. But he was decent again today. Not perfect, but yeah, I think again some of it with Luke Shaw is part of it. People like to give him extra praise to silence certain people, like Steve, for instance. But there's a lot of people who have ruled off Luke Shaw as a shit player over the years, and then so when he is good, a large section of the fan base, which quite rightly and quite nicely in some cases, like to give him a bit more credit than he's worth, just for the sake of, well, you said he was shit and now look how good he is, which I don't think really helps, because that's not a criticism, a praise based on how good you think he is. It's a praise based on how bad other people said he used to be, which doesn't really, there's not much in that for me. I don't really go with that. If you actually look at what Luke Shaw's doing, he's improved a lot going forward. He still needs to get better defensively. It was a toss-up for a few people for man of the match, but I would have had Rashford and Dan James ahead of him personally.
I would have.
And Matic.
And Matic. We'll wrap up soon. There's not too much to pick the bones out of there. Do you want to go into a couple of the comments, and if you've got some stats, I think, for us as well?
Yeah, we've got a stat about Bruno here. And it says something like this, Jay. Manchester United's Bruno, brackets 15 goals, 10 assists. In case you didn't know which Bruno Fernandes we were talking about.
Opposed to the Manchester United's Bruno.
Yeah.
Not Manchester United's Bruno.
Yeah, the Bruno Fernandes that's only got 4 goals, 1 assist, is the third player within Europe's top 5 leagues to reach double figures for both goals and assists in league matches alongside Harry Kane and Thomas Muller. But neither of them have got as many overall goals and assists as him. I believe it's the case that he's got 50 goal or assists in 48 Premier League games for Manchester United. A quite astonishing return. Is 0.68 goals per 90, 132 minutes per goal. I mean, generally speaking, for a top striker, a goal every other game is the kind of the benchmark, isn't it? That's what people say. That's what people talk about. If you get a goal every other game throughout your career, you probably get 200-300 goals, which is great for any striker. Bruno's well above that at the minute. It's remarkable, isn't it? I was saying just before we went live, he's currently on 22 goals and I think 12 assists in all competitions. And we're sort of 2/3 of the way through the season. Now, it's not inconceivable that Bruno Fernandes might get 30 goals and 20 assists for Manchester United this season, which would be just fictional in terms of how good that is. That would be ridiculous. I mean, he might fall short on the assists, but I expect him to get close to 30 goals and close to 20 assists, which is absolutely staggering numbers and the sorts of numbers that I can't think of anyone for Manchester United doing for a very long time. Certainly not the mix of both. We've had great goal scorers. I think Wayne Rooney was the last person to get 20 goals and 10 assists for Manchester United.
That makes sense.
But, if he gets...
So you're going back to about 2011 then,
yeah, so if we get close to 50 goal contributions this season, it would just be utterly stunning. But that's the pace that he's on. And, he just does it every game. He wasn't even good today. He wouldn't have entered my mind as the top 3 or 4 players to get man of the match. But he snuck an assist, which was a telling assist as well, by the way, because the defender would have blocked that pass from Matic if it weren't for the touch from Bruno. And obviously he sticks the penalty away. But he's just sensational, isn't he?
He is sensational. Yes, I think we're going to wrap it up there. Just before we do, just read out a couple of the comments.
Wazoo07 says, Bruno Fernandes, Ballon d'Or. I don't think we're going to get a player win the Ballon d'Or until we win some trophies, are we? But,
no.
I mean, to be honest, if you think about it, there can only be a few players, a sort of a pinch of players that should win it over him.
Yeah.
There's like Lewandowski and, you can... I don't even look at Mbappe or Neymar, to be honest, but maybe if they win the Champions
Haaland,
League.
yeah,
Haaland's up there.
Might be in there with
Ronaldo
a shout.
as well. But yeah, he's got to be in with a shout. He was in FIFA World 11 this year, wasn't he? So he's right up there with those people. Abdullah Ibrahim with the super chat. Bruno has more Player of the Month's award this season than Thiago has wins with Liverpool.
I like those sort of stats. Keep them stats coming. Those are all good. Also, let's maths debate together, says Dan James, like a headless chicken.
Is that a statement
Maths.
or is that a request?
Very clever title there as well. Let's maths debate.
That's nice.
Yeah. I've got to start. Producer Cam just explained it into my ear. Like I wasn't just explaining it anyway.
Cam in our head just went, masturbate.
I think that's a good place to wrap up. I don't agree. I thought Dan James was very good today and deserves a bit of credit because he's had a lot of stick. We'll have all the reaction after the game as well. We'll have Andy Tate, we have Stephen Howson, we have Ryan Hopper. That's been Joe Smith. Joe, where can people find you?
Joe Smith 93 on Twitter and on Instagram. Check me out.
Check him out, man. Check out our TikTok as well and check out our member section if you're not doing so. And if you're not doing so, make sure you subscribe. I've been Jay. That's been Joe. This has been Stretford Paddock Live Review. Thanks for watching.